is free speech going away? If I could get down on my knees.
Hey y'all, Joefer here, the Cranky Old Gay Guy. Oh, good morning. It's Monday, the 31st of March, 2025, and I would like to say happy birthday to my older brother, Bill. He is 72 today. I know you shouldn't talk about people's age, but you know, as a guy, I don't think he cares, and he's proud that he's lived this long, I'm sure, because a lot of people haven't. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Brother Bill. Happy birthday to you. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get on to today's subject, which is demise. I think I am going to be doing off and on episodes that deal with the word demise and what it means and how it's used in today's sentence. Today we're going to talk about the demise of freedom of speech. Now, this didn't just happen with this current administration. Even though they are cracking down on things and protesters, which is free expression, is suddenly if you are not a born U.S. citizen, anything you say or support protest-wise, they can use against you and just grab you off the street and send you to Guantanamo. Or, not Guantanamo, I'm sorry, to Louisiana. Just as bad. But we're not talking just about that. Long before that came, well, I wouldn't say long before, but the U2 movement. Suddenly, everyone was policing what they say because they didn't want to get jumped on. They didn't want to get canceled. They didn't want to be labeled. We label things every day as citizens of the United States. We've got the tech bros. We've got the jock boys. You've got the nerds, even in high school. Depending on what you say, you're free to say it, but it can come back to haunt you. But now, freedom of speech in the form of newspapers, news, radio, etc., everyone is really cutting back what they're saying because they're afraid not only of governmental attacks, which several of the large broadcast networks have been sued by the current administration because they did not like a story or the way something was said on that channel. So rather than go to court and drag it out and spend a bunch of money, these outlets, because they're being pressured, have settled and done what the administration wanted. One of those is NBC, and that is because it has a merger deal coming up with Paramount, and it's trying to sell off Paramount, I believe. And it needs to be approved by the FCC, but the FCC is currently run by this administration who said, we're not going to do that for you if you don't bow to our whims. But prior to that, and by the way, that court case, which I heard they're paying off, I then heard that no, now they're going to challenge it. So I don't know where that stands. But people are not saying what they could be saying and what they might have said in the past. Also, look at comedians. A lot of them have really edited their acts due to the Me Too movement, because rather than say something sexist or racist, which they have in the past, now they know if they say that, someone in the audience is recording that, and it's going to be around the world in no time, and they're going to get slammed for it. So they are cutting back on their own speech. Another thing is if you go to other countries, they do not have freedom of speech built into their constitutions. One such place is Germany. And there are certain things you cannot say because they are illegal. And most of those, I believe, have to do with supporting right-wing Nazi movements. And that is based on their history. They do not want to repeat history. They do not want another dictator coming in and taking over and, you know, mass murdering all of these people. So I understand where that's coming from. But if you say something out of context, it can be taken the wrong way and you could still end up in legal hell. In the United States, we have something called the ACLU, which is a nonprofit which will go to court and support your right to free speech, regardless of what you are saying. Even if they disagree with you, they will support you because freedom of speech is very important in this country. Right now, the ACLU is looked down on by the right because of their defense of people on the left. But they will pull out the occasional, they're supporting someone who is obviously a terrorist or whatever. Or even though that person that they're defending is speaking just like the people on the right-wing stations, they've gotten in trouble with something, the government, because they said something that the current administration doesn't like. And the ACLU will go to court to defend them. It's like this. I may not like what you say or how you say it, but I will defend your right to say it. Because I certainly don't want to say something and get attacked for it legally. I would rather spout my beliefs and let everybody hate me than be restricted from saying what I want to say. And the same thing is happening in the LGBTQ community. Oh boy. How do I put this? In the 90s, when I first came about as I was just a gay little twink, 28, but still a gay little twink. There was a lot of division and joking in the community that, gays and lesbians don't get along. I did country dancing, so I found that wasn't the case at all. But I guess in certain circles it is. And you see that referred to in films and movies. And a lot of adult gay men do not have lesbian friends. Currently, I know lesbians, but I wouldn't say that they're in my friend group. They were in my friend group when I worked with them and I saw them all the time. But it's not the case right now. What I was trying to get at is the freedom of speech issue, is that even back then, people started not saying what was on their mind. When you're raised a certain way, you think a certain way, you've been programmed to think that way, and it's hard to change. It's just like, look at the TV show Mad Men and the way they treated women. The men treated women as second-class citizens and simply there for their pleasure. They could openly say that, and I think that's why the show was so popular, because it hit home with the belief system of so many men in the country. And it also hit home with a lot of women who were treated that way in the 50s and 60s and 70s. In the gay community, now that LGBTQ plus, it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, more inclusive. And like trans folks have been really, really harassed. People who used to joke about people who weren't LG, like bisexuals in the 90s, they were a big joke in every circle that I was in. There was always a joke about a bisexual and how they don't exist or how they're just gay and they haven't made up their mind, etc. And that has to do with the fact that a lot of gay men who don't think they're gay will say that they're bisexual until they realize that they're gay. I mean, I did that myself. I thought, no, I'm not gay, I'm just bi. But when you realize that you really have no sexual interest in women and trying to go out with women is such an uncomfortable chore, yet being with a guy is easy, you realize that, yeah, I'm just gay. So that's me, I'm just gay. But there was also a lot of hate out there in the gay community, and I see it online all the time from people that I know that do not believe that, much like some of these politicians on TV, they don't believe that transsexualism is real and that it's just make-believe, or they're playing, or they're doing it to get attention, etc. I don't believe that. Sure, some cases, someone might say that they're non-binary or trans just to get attention, but I don't think that is the majority of people, because the trans people that I do know, they're fully committed and they've been living this way for years. And why would you put yourself under the scrutiny of society if it's not who you really are, and for so long? I mean, I can see a celebrity or someone doing it just for attention. You know, they're going to get a book or something out of it, but not the everyday Joe and Jane out on the street. That doesn't make any sense to me. However, there is someone I follow on Facebook who posts things that are so exclusionary and so anti-woman, and this is a gay man, and so unbelievable to me that they can think this way and still consider themselves a gay man. Because they come down really, really hard on trans people, and you could say that they're TERFs. Yeah, I think they're TERFs. And they also have no issue. In fact, they promote removing the T from LGBTQ. They want to remove the T and the Q. Why? Because they feel that the T and the Q have diminished their stature. Well, I want to call BS on that, because that's like saying the Mattachine Society back in the day when gay rights were just becoming publicly known. The Mattachine Society were a group of men and women, gays and lesbians, who wanted to be treated like everyone else, but they also wanted to look like everybody else and act like everybody else. And they wore the suits, and the women had to wear dresses and nylons and all that, because they wanted to fit in and they didn't want to be the greasy wheel. They just wanted to be treated like everyone else. And I understand where that's coming from. So I can see why these people who are pushing to get the T and the Q out of the LGBTQ, they feel, this is now my interpretation of it, you can tell me if I'm wrong, they feel that including those is bringing a lot of scrutiny to them, and it makes them look bad. So it's about them. It's not about the community. It's not about other people. It's about them. And I think that's a pretty selfish way to look at it, because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have the rights that you have today. And you would be having to live in the closet, and you would be treated much worse than you may be now. That's just my take on the situation. I think everyone should embrace the TQ and the plus and the two-spirit, etc., etc. They're all subcategories of one larger group. I would like to say the larger group is gay, because gay covers everything as opposed to the subcategories. But once you're within the gay community, there are sub-communities. There's the gay, which is the male, the lesbian, the female, the bi, which is into both, the, what did I say here? T for trans, and then the Q for queer. Queer is what a lot of gay people call themselves because they don't want to be gay and they feel that they're queer. And a lot of older gays hate that term, because when you're little, young, the word queer was a horrible word and you were brutalized with it, and you've learned that you hate it. Now, the younger generation has come into vogue and they have reclaimed the word, which I think is great. It doesn't mean you as an older person has to use it, but you shouldn't be offended when someone refers to you as queer. That would be like being offended because someone refers to you as being gay. Nothing to be ashamed of. Face up to it. Say, okay, you can use that term, I'll use this term. It's fine. Just like the genders. Well, sorry. What do I want to say? The gender names, like he, she, they, z, etc. I'm not offended if someone calls me they, okay? Or you, or hey guy, or princess, or hey queen. None of it bothers me. And why? Even if it's said in a nasty way, if you let it bother you, the person trying to be nasty wins. So if someone says, hey queen, out in public or something, you can come back and say, hey queen, or hey dipshit, or whatever you want to say. But I'm not going to cancel that one. I'll just keep it in there. You can say whatever you want, but if you get offended by what they're telling you or what they're saying to you, you are going to come across as the loser. You know, that you're letting someone get to you. You're giving them free rental space in your brain, and you shouldn't. Again, my opinion, you don't have to listen to me. And on that note, we are at the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to sign off and get the day going. This was my all over the place talk about demise and the demise of free speech. So stay tuned. In a future episode, we'll have the demise of something else. But this did pertain to the gay and lesbian community, LGBTQ plus IA. And as far as the two-spirit thing, I wish that we were inclusive, more inclusive, but I wish that there was just a general overall term like gay that would encompass everyone. There isn't that I'm aware of. And someone had suggested we use the word NS for non-straight. But then I was corrected by people in the previous video when I said this, that you could be trans and straight. And I don't disagree with that. I mean, if you transition, let's say you become a woman and you are dating a man, then you're in a straight relationship. I totally get that. But, you know, my thoughts are my thoughts and your thoughts are your thoughts. I don't mind NS just because it's a way to hyphenate all of those letters. Yeah, that's all I got. Your views are welcome. Comments, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to this video, tell all your friends. I don't know if you could send a message to YouTube, but if you could say, hey, promote the Cranky Old Gay Guy show to more people that don't know he exists. It's always helpful. All right, I'm going to sign off now. I'm sending you all my cranky love. I'm going to come up with something. What do we do this? Crank. And how do I make a heart into a crank? Sending you my cranky love. I will take suggestions. Feel free to send me a video of you with your hand movements so that I could express that. If any of you speak ASL, how would you say cranky love with your hands? All right. So goodbye, everybody. Have a good day and stay cranky.
Is free speech going away? If I could get down on my knees and beg and plead to save it, would you stand by me? Would you even give a shit? And if it's going away, then tell me what's next. The things we say to ourselves, will we say them to someone else? Is free speech going away? We need our friends now more than ever. Is self-expression going away? If I told you I was gonna give it up, would you tell me not to cave? And if it is, then what's next? The things we do for ourselves, will we do them for someone else? We need our friends now more than ever. Is free speech going away? We need our friends now more than ever. Yeah, what freedoms are next? You can burn my body, you can break my bones, boil my blood and shoot my soul and do it all again until I can't take no more. But I know one thing that's true and it's baked into my core. I'm gonna sing it from my grave until the decay screams out no more. But until that day comes, I'll keep asking questions like, is self-censorship on the rise? Are we watching what we say? Are we honest and outspoken, or just living day to day? Even in the gay world, divisions do exist. We have hatred and disrespect, and people getting pissed. But behind closed doors, their prejudice and hate, we look down on other people because of the attention they create. And we're fighting now more than ever.